Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and today I am doing a book haul, mostly supplied by the library sale that I went to this weekend. They spread it out over 2 weeks instead of a single weekend like they usually do to make it so it would be less crowded, and added books in each day so that everybody wouldn't just go the first day. And the day I went, everything was half off, so I got 14 books for $5. I was very pleased with myself. I took along my small cat bag to put things in with the idea that I would stop picking up books once it was filled, but then I found a bunch of hardbacks I'm going to show you that wouldn't fit in it, so I just started carrying them around. So I overbought more than I had planned a little bit, but I needed to add these to my collection. There are also some in the middle here, like 5 of them, that I have bought either at used places in person or several were online, so like I'll tell you where things came from as we go. But the first several are all going to be from the library sale. The first one is Native Born by Jenna Kernan. This is about people from the Apache Tribal Council. I'm hoping that it's own voices. I'm gonna have to research that because there wasn't any details on that inside the book for me to look at as I bought it, so I'm gonna have to look that up online. But it's a romance mystery with some bodyguard stuff going on. The lady is the bodyguard for the guy, so I am interested to see how that goes. Then I found a Nora Roberts book, Face the Fire, the conclusion of the bewitching Three Sisters Island trilogy, which Nora Roberts does romances, and some of the romances she does are magical, and I am interested in those ones especially. And also, I didn't even notice this when I was picking it up, but it has a pink spine, which I always enjoy decorating my shelves with. A lot of Nora Roberts books are available from the library, so I'll probably pick the first 2 up from there. Then another Nora Roberts, Irish Dreams, and the other ones of hers that are my favorite are the Irish ones. It's got a horse and rolling green hills. I like those a lot. Then this was from the YA section, and I was just, you know, taking a cursory glance, trying to only look at the paperbacks because I was already holding like 5 hardbacks that wouldn't fit in my bag. So I noticed the author, Julie E. Cerneda, who wrote A Turn of Light and the duology, it's a duology I think, and the second book in that series. So I loved both of those, so I would like to check out something else by her, even though this is a sci-fi instead of a fantasy. But it looks like it might be a very land-based plot with all this weird technology and like oozing green thing coming out of the ground. And that was something I really liked about A Turn of Light. So that should be fun too. Plus, I enjoy these really old style covers that are on hers, but I don't think the actual books are as old. Yeah, this is from like the book that comes after this in the series came out in 2006, so like this is more like a 80s or 90s cover. But I really like that style, so that's fun. And it is the second book, so I'll have to pick up the first book either from the library or might just have to buy it. Because even though I've only read 2 books by her, her style is very distinctive, so I think that she's a fairly sure bet. Then I spent a lot of time in the middle grade section, almost filled my bag there. But you know, that's my favorite age range. So this is Grayling's Song by Karen Cushman. There's an evil spell that has immobilized all the magic makers in the kingdom, and she's supposed to find someone's grimoire, her book of spells and charms. And I love magic books and, you know, young girls saving the kingdom. It just sounds, it makes me think of my childhood reading. And this author has apparently written a number of other books, so if I end up liking this, I can check those out and we'll have found a whole bunch of good books, hopefully. Then we have Anything But Typical which I picked up because typical is a bit of a, are you talking about neurotypical? And then when you look at the cover, this looks like, you know, neurodivergence in art. And sure enough, on the back it says, neurotypicals like it when you look them in the eye. Just because you're not looking at someone does not mean you're not listening. And it says that Jason Blake is an autistic 12-year-old living in a neurotypical world. Jason finds a glimmer of understanding when he comes across Phoenix Bird, who posts stories to the same online site as he does. So, once again, I hope it's Own Voices, and barring that, I hope it's good. Because I would love to find more Own Voices books with autistic characters, or even more good books with autistic characters. It's just that you usually can't have one without the other. And he probably is a little white boy, so not necessarily the most important type of representation we could get, but it's something. And, you know, the girl might also be the Phoenix Bird. Phoenix Bird is a girl, it says later on in the summary. Might also be autistic, because we do trend to attract each other like magnets. And it doesn't say anything about the author, who is Nora Raleigh Baskin, being a psychologist or having family who's autistic, so that's at least a little bit more likely that they are actually autistic themselves. And then What Mama Left Me by Renee Watson, which is a orphan girl being taken care of by her grandparents, and sounds sad but cathartic. I think it has a lot to do with baking, which is very much my thing. And this one is Can You Spell Revolution, which I was a little bit surprised to see that in the kids section, but it's specifically revolution inside a school. One of the kids is raising up against the teachers, but I'm hoping that it also has some like encouragement of kids to get involved in the government or get involved in protesting the government, you know, and kind of talk about stuff that goes beyond just the schoolhouse. But even if it doesn't, just challenging the authority of apparently middle school teachers is also something that I like the idea of. So hopefully this will be fun and maybe a little bit inspiring. This I found in the nonfiction section. It's called Stolen Harvest: The Hijacking of the Global Food Supply by Vandana Shiva. And in Stolen Harvest, Vandana Shiva charts the impacts of globalized corporate agriculture on small farmers, the environment, and the quality of the food we eat, which I'm interested in food and nutrition and world trade, all that kind of thing. So I'm very interested in this. Plus it's from the perspective of a woman and from a non-Western perspective. So that should be really interesting. And it's not too long, so I might, like, you know, actually be able to finish it in one, like, read through. Because some nonfiction I am able to read like half of it and then I have to put it down for like 3 months before I can read more of it. But this one I might actually be able to finish in short order. And this one was again from the kids section. I just saw that it was by Louise Erdrich, and says, actually the first thing I noticed was that it was called Macoons, and quite a bit bigger, because they were all, you know, put together with their spines facing out. And Macoons is the last name of the girl from JoJo Macoons, and I knew that that was written by a indigenous person, and I thought, I wonder if that might actually be an indigenous name, which it might be, because it is also the name of this book, or it might have a meaning in an indigenous language. But it is book 5 of the Birchbark House series, which I read the first book, and I don't know how much you need to have read the other books to know what's going on, but from what I remember of the first book, it's very much a slice of life type of story, just daily living. So and I also don't remember many of the characters, so I will probably be able to just pick this one up, but it might also inspire me to read the 3 books in between this and the first one. But it has such a cute little cover. Look at the cute little bears and the little flowers. It's so cute. Okay, this one was from a antique store. It's called My Pride, My Folly by Suzanne Butler, and apparently it's, when was this written? I found it at some point. 1953. I found several romances, I think that's probably the author, written in like, or published in like the 50s, and they like have similar covers to this, and it just looks really interesting to me. I think it's about a lady whose husband goes off in the Navy and like what she does at home and what she does when he comes back. And I don't know, I really like tracing the history of books and how they've evolved, and like cover art and how things are written and how plots are structured. I find that really interesting. So like I wanted to acquire a few books of my own that were like written in that time and were probably aimed at women, and how their approach back then might have varied from modern historical romance writers, because I think this is set quite a ways before the 50s, so even then it was historical romance. And this is another one of those, A Novel of Seattle by Annie Jordan. And of course I live relatively close to Seattle on the other side of the state, and it's like way early Seattle. I think this was published again around 1950, 1948, but it has a similar sort of illustrated cover, and I think this is actually about a single lady making her way in an even older Seattle, because this is not 1950s where, or 1940s where, this is before that, so more historical fiction from a slightly earlier time, and maybe about an independent woman in Seattle. But it was a little bit hard to tell from the description. This says that Mary Brinker Post is from Seattle and is the daughter of Seattle pioneers. Annie Jordan is based partly on family material and on careful research among records of the turn-of-the-century Seattle. So yeah, it was from, maybe supposed to be set in like 1900. And she wrote for the radio for many years. And then we have a book that I pre-ordered because it was an auto-buy author, being Catherynne Valente. The Past is Red. Hank Green says that The Past is Red is magical realism meets the garbage patch. I don't know what that means. Every page is a new and surprising invention. It's hilarious and sad and filled with an inexcusable amount of wisdom. I find Catherynne Valente she's good at passing on wisdom nuggets through writing. I really love a lot of her ideas. She wrote an entire gorgeous short story in response to Trump getting elected, and then she wrote a really good, I thought, essay on him getting unelected. But the description is, my name is Tetley Abednego, and I am the most beloved girl in Garbage Town. I'm 29 years old. I live with my very best friends on a janky old pontoon boat. And it mentions land, but it makes me think that it's one of those future dystopian worlds where a lot of things have flooded, and like a lot of people are living on floating garbage cities. There was an anime about that I can't remember. And I just, first of all, the texture of this dust jacket, it's one of those tiny bumps ones, and I just like it a lot better than the smooth ones. And let's see what it's like underneath there. Oh, it's plain on the front, but it's got jazzy, shiny spine. And it's a very nice little book, so I can probably also finish that fairly quickly. Really love her writing. So, oh, my battery's going. This is Six Crimson Cranes, which I talked about looking forward to. I'm very excited about it. Oh! I'm spilling out. I pre-ordered this from a specific bookstop shop, so I got like cards and prints and stuff, and they're beautiful, and I love them, and I stored them in there so I would, you know, remember to show you. But like, and a cool bookmark. And It's so beautiful. The UK cover is also gorgeous, and it has a very pretty red with white writing, and I'm so excited because this is the same author who wrote Spin the Dawn, which is another book that I'm excited about. The pitch sounded really good. So that's what's going on with that. I don't know anything else about it. I haven't tried to like look up stuff about it because I kind of want to go into it fresh. This I found at a bookshop, and it's called Missing Witches: Exploring True Histories of Feminist Magic by Risa Dickens and Amy Torok, and it's got a gorgeous cover for one. Also, I love stories, true histories about women and uncovering things like that, and the way that women have practiced different types of magic-like stuff is very interesting to me. So there's that. This I loved and reviewed and already read, and I got it. I sold some books on something I'll try to remember and link below that's an app, and I used the money that I got from that to buy one book from there, which was this one, and I absolutely love the super cool cover, and I love this story. It is a alternate dimension story. Looked really cool and had an awesome author picture, and has like a dragon, a fire dragon on it, and says it's Dragonbane, which is a Dark Hunter novel by Sherilyn Kenyon, and this is the first of another set that's from the library again. So it probably cost me 50 cents because when they're full price, hardbacks are $1 at those sales. So yeah, I love dragons. And then the last one are all J.D. Robb books that are hardcovers that are like not the most recently published two, but the 4 before that. They're about that recent, so like published like 2 and 3 years ago, so like much more recent than most of the used J.D. Robb books I found, and I found them all at once, and so that was really nice to be able to collect those so easily. So that is my book haul. Thank you so much for watching. I had a wonderful time.